I had a question come up. I was asked what the holes are for. Now, this is the Pocket Center Finder. This is 3D printed on HP Multi-Jet Fusion printers. They're solid nylon, and they come with a Sharpie. So I was going to show you how that works. So I've got mine here. This is about 3 years old now. They used to be gray. They're black now. But you can see it's got an array of holes down the side here. It's got a thicker area and then a setback, and that's where you put your coin or your disc that you want to mark center on. And then it's got a series of lines on the other side here. And I was just going to kind of show you how you'd use that. So just real quick, if I take the Sharpie, if you want to find center on your coin or disc, you just want to rest your disc into that pocket on this backside where you can kind of see it sits in there, and then you just draw a line, and it doesn't have to be accurate. You just flip this around, draw another line, and right where that cross is, that's your center point. So it's really easy to find center on that. Now there's some times when you might want to find center, but you might want to keep the alignment worked out. And so one example is like on impression dies here. You can see these guidelines I've drawn across. So if you want to put that skull impression right in the center of this, I've got these lines kind of marked for the crosshairs to align that. And then I just put a vinyl sticker around there. But just to kind of show you, so ideally what you'd want is something like that. So you can see the sticker just for visual, but you want to know rotation wise, how that's aligned. So that's another use for this is you can drop that in there. Now the $50 make it really easy because you can see, look at my screen here. You can see those lines in the shield. Hopefully that doesn't reflect too much for you. But you can go ahead and draw that line across. So you've got your center line, and then you rotate it around, and then that's what all these lines are for. So depending on the size of the disc that you're marking, you just find one that's pretty close, to what that is, and then it gives you a visual to check your alignment. So we'll go ahead and draw that across. So you can see there, you just find it perpendicular. So at that point, you've got this marked. So then what I like to do is just go through and just mark that edge and then just mark it around. And I'm going to do that on each of the 4 marks here. And at this point, you already would have wanted to anneal this $50 because when you're going to go to press it, you have to make sure it's annealed first. This one's not annealed. I'm just kind of showing you an example. But you'd want to anneal this, and then you'd be ready to press. So you can see there, we've got it marked. I'm going to go ahead and close the Sharpie. And then we've carried those lines around to the back. So now you can see where that's going to line up. So now you can take this, I'm going to put it to the top, and then so you can see that. Then you're just aligning those dashes to the center lines. So now when you go ahead and you press that, there we go right there. Then when you go ahead and you put urethane on here and you press that on your press, then that skull impression is going to be centered on this. Now this extra little set of lines that you can see down below here, that's when I make the guitar picks. I like to have that skull impression a little bit towards the top so that it sits a little higher into this arrayed star area. So same thing, you would just line that up, and then I just have these extra lines that are down below here. So if I get that right there, you can see now when this is pressed, you're still putting the urethane centered, so you have your guidelines to the center line. You're still putting the urethane centered because the impression doesn't move. But since you've shifted the coin down, now that impression is going to be towards the top of what then becomes a guitar pick. So you flip this around and you get the skull impression there, and then you can trace the guitar pick shape. Totally off topic, but that's how I use these. These are the guitar pick shape. So you would trace that around, and then you can imagine the skull impression would be towards the top there. Anyway, that's how those work. Now then, to show you the holes there, what that is for is, let's say you had a disc and you wanted to use a disc cutter, and you want to find center, you want to align your disc centered on this. So let's say we're just gonna pick one of these. This is probably easier to do without a camera in front of me. Let me slide this off to the side. You just drop your coin down, and then you figure out, about how big the circle is you want it to be. It doesn't have to be, it's just a visual. So I like to just put it off to the side of the table like this. You just drop your Sharpie in. You can kind of see, that way you get kind of a lever using your thumb. But now you've got a centered circle on there. And so that helps for then when you're using your disc cutter, if you see that, so you can get that positioned, to get your hole centered. So anyway, that's what the holes are for on that. That's what the array lines are for, and that's how the pocket center finder works. So if any questions at all, please let me know. The center finder again comes with a Sharpie, and this is what you would get. Any questions at all, please let me know. All right, thanks, bye.